So what is this NAR lawsuit settlement all about? I mean, we've all seen the headlines, and there have been some crazy headlines. We want to separate the facts from the fiction. So, yes, it is true that in the spirit of moving forward, in the best interest of consumers and their membership, NAR proposed a settlement in a long-standing lawsuit. It was not an admission of guilt, but a simple way for everyone to move forward. Now, the other thing you might be hearing is, are brokerage fees changing? Well, brokerage fees have always been and will continue to be negotiable. So that's not what's changing. What's changing is the structure of how and when brokerage fees are paid and how buyers' representatives negotiate fees with their buyers. The best way for us to look at that and understand it is to look at how this happens today. Take a look at this graphic. Currently, brokerage fees for both buyer and seller agents are negotiated with the seller by the listing agent. Once negotiated, the fees for the buyer's agent are part of the listing agreement, and it's posted in MLS. When the buyer's agent brings a buyer to the transaction, the buyer's agent was paid out of the seller proceeds as stated in the listing agreement. While it's best practice to have a buyer's representation agreement, it's not mandatory. If the proposal is agreed to by the judge, what will change is this structure and how buyer's representation commissions and brokerage fees are communicated to buyers and communicated and agreed upon throughout the transaction. Take a look at this. When a seller enters into a listing agreement with a listing broker, he can still agree to pay the buyer's representation as part of seller concessions, B2B compensation, and terms. But what a seller will pay in commission will no longer be available on the MLS. Buyer's agents must have a written agreement with a buyer, including negotiated fees, before they can show a property. This is the biggest change. Buyers will now have conversations with their agent regarding fees. This agreement must be in place prior to the agent showing you a home. The buyer agent can reach out to the listing agent and discuss what the seller is willing to contribute to buyer closing costs, but all buyer requested concessions are now part of a contract negotiation, including buyer agent compensation, and there will no longer be an assumption that it will be paid at closing. Keep in mind, this is still a proposal. We believe this is very positive for both buyers and sellers. And while it's very different in structure and how we will communicate with buyer clients and with sellers about buyers, we believe that the transparency and uncoupling of the fees is in the best interest of everyone. We also expect information to change and information to be more clarified as we get through this process. And we are really committed to keeping you informed and working with our clients to make sure we all understand how listing and buyer representation works and the fees around those services. For more information about this, please just reach out to me or DM me or comment below. And thank you so much.